Hello and welcome to Webcertain TV. Hailed by a leading economist as one of the countries set to see huge economic growth in the next few years, Turkey is an appealing and attractive target market for many businesses. To tell us more about the online landscape and the internet behaviours in the market, Umay Jones, a Turkish digital specialist, joins me now.
Hello.
Hi, Umay, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
So could we just start with you giving us a bit of an idea about, what the internet penetration's like, what the kind of online landscape's like in Turkey?
Yeah, sure. Turkey is kind of a big country when you compare with other European countries, and it has 8 million people living in. But the internet penetration, when it comes to internet penetration, it's only 49%, which sounds quite low. But when you look at the numbers, actually, it's
Still a lot of people.
Lots of people, and some people say that actually it reached a saturation point.
Wow.
I don't agree with them.
No.
Growth rate is quite low, but Turkey is a very young country. The median age is 29, so very low, and so new young people are coming up every day, and I'm sure it will increase.
Yeah, it's just maybe a bit slower to grow than some of it.
Yeah, and also another important point, I feel that 70% of people living in cities. So I think this will affect the internet penetration as well.
Yeah, makes sense. So what are the kind of key online trends and behaviours we are seeing with internet usage?
Well, when it comes to the trends, first thing I'll say, the smartphones.
Of course.
Like the rest of the world, it's growing. Now half of the population has smartphones, and they use it daily basis, of course. But when we come to the activities, people generally interesting that search about products. This is 90% of people, before they buy something, they search and they check and the price, or offers, but they don't buy it. So I'll come to that later on.
Okay.
That we will probably talk about the e-commerce. And then the second, largest activity is social media, could be even the first. Again, we can discuss about this later on. And then, of course, news as a primary resources. They use the internet, but because the population is very young, again, I will talk about video here and games as well, which is very popular.
Okay. So lots to ask you about by the sounds of it. Just to start with, or carry on with thinking about the language side of it, because obviously Turkish is its own language, and as I understand, a fairly complex one.
Yeah, it's my favourite topic. Yeah.
So what kind of are the challenges with the language, and what do people need to be aware of when creating Turkish content?
Well, whoever you ask this question in the world, they will claim that their language is the most difficult language. Yeah. And I'll claim the same. Turkish is quite complex. And why is it complex? It's an agglutinative language, and this term, that verb, the verb agglutinatere, comes from Latin, and it means glue together. And it's interesting because the words in Turkish are the combination of the roots and the stem, and then stem and stem. You can add, as many stem as you want to a root, and it makes it very complex. I'll give you an example, if you wish. This is only one word, Turkish.
Yeah.
Medenileştirebildiklerimizden misiniz? So,
excuse me.
Yeah, and it means, are you the one of those that we could not have turned into a civilized person? So this is only one word. So wow. The one word can be one sentence. So
right. So, it's all joined together to become one word. So
exactly.
Yeah, I can imagine that makes for some challenges when you're trying to optimize for that. Yeah, exactly. Thinking about keywords.
So, Google was created for English language. And when it comes to Turkish, of course, it has some problems, especially, that adding stems at the end.
Yeah.
And so Google actually focuses on the roots. So I think, when people optimize the website, they should go to Google and they should test what it can recognize.
Yeah,
or what
yeah, because
can't.
perhaps it could be otherwise showing some strange results and not performing as you'd expect it to.
Exactly.
Okay, so mentioning about Google, obviously that is kind of the most important search engine in Turkey and the most widely used.
Yeah, that's right, like the rest of the world.
So which are the other search engines that might be providing some competition for Google?
Yeah, in 2011, there was a new search engine came from Russia, Yandex. And because they are really good at languages, with the difficult languages like a Cyrillic, with the Russian, with the Cyrillic alphabet, and they wanted to try this skill on Turkish market. And at the moment, they have only 5% market share, but it's increasing. And because of the way of using the language, and they are quite good at that.
Yeah. So perhaps they're better than Google, certainly, at understanding the language.
In this way, I would say so a bit, but in other ways also it brought some competitions to the market, which is again nice. And again, in Turkey, whoever you ask about Yandex, they will say map. They are really, Turkish people are, very keen on Yandex map service. It's amazing,
yeah. So hopefully they'll be starting to see a bit more development maybe over a few more years.
Yeah,
so we've talked about the language there and the challenges with that, but of course when you're targeting any country you need to also think about the cultural factors and the way that people behave and things that matter to them. So what are the kind of key cultural things that need to be aware of for Turkish market?
Yeah, I'll give you a little, tip about Turkish people here. When we talk about the cultural aspects, I will give you 4 very important features. First of all, Turkish people. They don't think about the future. They don't think about the past, maybe because of the history, maybe the economic problems and everything. They just live in the moment. So I call it, mediancy is very important for Turkish people. And then the second point is luckiness. People should feel lucky in a way. Have you been to Grand Bazaar?
No.
Okay, when you go, remember that you should haggle to buy a carpet. Possibly. Yeah. So, because they need to haggle, they need to get the best offer, then they can feel lucky. And also, again, with lots of traffic accident, with lots of natural disaster, with lots of problems, that people are appreciated. They, can go to their bed, so they feel lucky. So this is very important.
Okay.
You need to check if you are offering the, good price for them and special deal. It's always appealing. Okay. And then the third point is, of course, aspiration. Like any other developing countries, people look for prestigious products, and so you need to offer them they
need to feel like they're getting something special.
Exactly, and they need to feel wealthy.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the fourth feature is respect. It's like Asian people, I think, in the sense that people still, because in the rest of the world, the respect between old and young people or to your neighbor is getting, quite less important, let's say. But in Turkey, it's still very important, this respect in relationships.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good and useful things to know. You mentioned earlier that social media is, really popular, and a lot of Turkish people really enjoy interacting online on social channels. So, which are the popular platforms that they use?
Well, when it comes to social media, it's really, really popular. 93% of the internet users use social media, which is the top number in the world.
Yeah.
So Turkish people crazy. Why is it so popular? Immediacy, because they get the news on via social media. People, they don't trust the news. People, they don't. There are some obvious reasons for that. I won't name them now. Quite political, but if they trust the social media. And when it comes to the platforms, of course, Facebook is very popular. And then Twitter. Twitter is still very, high. It's interesting that when Twitter was banned recently in Turkey, and people heard this news via Twitter. So I think
so there's always ways around the
Exactly.
black
Everyone
sites.
on the street, they would know the VPN
Yes,
numbers.
yeah.
Not everyone would know in Britain, for
No.
example, on the street, but
No.
in Turkey, yes, they do. And Google Plus is very popular, and even Instagram is very aspirational. You have to have a Instagram. So these are the platforms.
So there aren't particularly any local Turkish sites. It is more the kind of global platforms that people would use. Yeah,
that's right. And also there is another interesting point that I said, 49% of penetration for the internet, but 23% social media penetration. So what is that 4%?
Yeah.
And it is said that apparently this is XY generation, that they don't use internet at all. They only use social media.
Wow.
Via their smartphones, I guess.
Yeah. So it's definitely something perhaps that it would definitely be advisable for brands targeting the market to have kind of a presence on social, that
definitely yes. If you are offering a service or product, it's aspirational that you should have an account on one of those social media. And most of the companies, they have social media marketing department working on it. But what I feel that they don't really keep it updated, or they don't really keep it active, interactive. So they just fail.
Yeah. So it's not just having a presence, it's making sure you're keeping up to date, you're engaging, you're seeing what's going on and responding to that.
That's right.
Which is, of course, true of social, I guess, wherever you're doing it. But
yeah, it's not specifically for Turkey.
And then, talking also about e-commerce, which is, you're saying that a lot of people use, their smartphones or the internet to do research, but then still don't necessarily buy online. So what is the kind of e-commerce situation?
Yeah, again, the numbers, it's so, interesting here. I said 90% of people do their research online, but they buy only 15% of people buy online.
Yeah, so it's low. 15 is
very big gap in between.
Yeah.
So there is a potential there. There is a huge potential, and just we need to search. Why is it? Why don't they, buy online? And when we ask this question, people say, "I don't need it. I don't need to buy." Okay,
so they might want to find out about it, but they still can get what they need in the shops. Is basically it.
You may think that, or maybe payment options, maybe the delivery problems. No, it's not a really problem.
So it's not even a trust issue that they don't. Is it? They're not nervous about buying online. It's just
exactly. So it's maybe some economic issues, but also I said 70% of people, they live in cities, so they can go and actually get it. Another, again, important point that when people buy something offline, they go and buy from the brands. But when they go online, they buy it from retailers.
Yeah. So
this is also interesting point.
So in terms of kind of international brands versus domestic brands, or is there any difference there? Do people have a preference for local products, or
again, people would look for international brand in Turkey.
Yeah.
Mainly. Again, I'll say aspiration. It's quite should be a good product, should be a quality product. I will go for the international brand. Yeah. And maybe international brand should go for the retailers, that it's very popular.
Yeah, so they need to be looking at where people like to buy and working with them to get their products into the market. Interesting. So just to finish off, is there anything else that we need to know? What would be maybe your kind of top tip for business now thinking, I might give the Turkish market a try?
Yeah, and I will again want to say about, cross-border shopping, that actually it's not very popular at the moment. It might be some economic problems.
Yeah.
But what helps that 70% of people, they have credit card, which is the second in Europe.
Yeah.
So, again, immediacy, people just, even if they don't have money, they just go and buy it. So it's a really good market in the sense that people, can target. And delivery is very good in Turkey, 1 to 3 days. So that's that's a good, advantage.
So kind of the infrastructure there is there, and there's
Very
also
strong.
the kind of desire for people and the kind of trust with the internet, because that definitely can be a challenge. It doesn't sound like that's the
No,
case in
people are
Turkey.
not worried about security.
Yeah.
And Turkish people can really take the risk.
Yeah.
Because they're lucky. It's their lucky day, of course.
Yeah.
So,
Great. Well, that's really some really interesting insights there. Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.